What's good, my people? We are biggity back. Flash Speaks with another video. If you want to get caught up on all your news, sports news, anything that's relevant going on, first and foremost, centered around Philadelphia sports. However, we tackle other areas and other topics of interest, of course. This is what we want to do. So what do we have on tap today? First, I guess we got to start with some disappointing news from my perspective. Obviously, last night we had NFL action with the Detroit Lions hosting the Green Bay Packers, their longtime rivals, one of the longest standing rivalries in the whole history of the NFL. What previously used to be called the NFC Central, now the NFC North, was an opportunity for the Green Bay Packers to actually help out their fellow green color wearing brethren, the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, they fail in this regard. The Detroit Lions were able to hold on in a thriller, somewhat of a thriller of a game, 34-31. I look at the game, open it up, and we start with the Detroit Lions putting together a drive where they were able to drive practically pretty much down the field, primarily through the running game, though there was some mix of passing in there. When I saw that first drive, I was a bit upset. However, I know, to have a little bit of patience in these types of areas. I feel like Green Bay was down 10-0 before I could even say Green Bay. And then Green Bay comes through finally with a drive where they took the ball out of their great young quarterback, Jordan Love's hand, pretty much rode the back of Josh Jacobs and the other running back that they have, and was able to score. I kind of felt like that drive was kind of given to them by the refs, to be honest with you. But whatever the case may be at the time, I did not care. Whatever's going to benefit, I was kind of wet. So Green Bay was able to take the lead a few times here and there, almost to the point where I felt confident that we were going to win. And I just this close came to feeling as though the NFC representative in the Super Bowl would be traveling through South Philadelphia over there at One Lincoln Financial Field Way. Lo and behold, to my disgust, the Green Bay Packers could not keep it up. The game had practically no defense at a certain point. We know that both teams are suffering a number of different injuries. Among the injuries, for the Packers is Zaire Alexander and some players on the line. Whereas the Detroit Lions, at this point, you have to see them almost as a marvel. You're talking about a team that has over double-digit players on IR. However, this Dan Campbell, this Leslie Frazier must be coaching their proverbial asses off because that team still plays hard. They do what they can. By the numbers, they're not a great defense. I mean, you're talking about against the pass, they're like ranked 23rd. Against the run, they're very good, though, ranked 5th in the league. And those guys fight, man. I had to kind of respect the Lions for that. And looks like the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have their work cut out for them. They got to make sure we go out here, handle business against Carolina. And then in the following week, make sure we take care of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which will probably be presumably the toughest game for the remainder of the year. And then from there, we pretty much have to deal with the NFC East, which is never a cakewalk. So looks like Philadelphia Eagles, if you want to get something done, you got to do that shit yourself. That's pretty much the old adage. And this is where we are. Packers couldn't help us out. So that's pretty much where we are. Next on tap, we got a game that I was flipping over to here and there during the Packers-Lions game. I go peek over at the game. We had some good women's basketball action on tap. Among them, you had the Notre Dame Fighting Irish playing against a damn good Texas team, and then you had the game that I was able to watch some of, especially that second half as well as overtime, where LSU was able to pull out a win against Stanford in overtime. There was a point in this game where LSU looked dead in the water, especially you talking about that final minute in that third quarter. You saw fans leaving the stands and everything else. But lo and behold, man, much to my surprise, they have a young lady there by the name of Michaela Williams, who absolutely goes nuclear in that last 10 seconds of the game. I should say, and then this carries on in overtime. Completely lost her mind, and then that's a good sign because as we know, their best player is Flaugier Johnson and Anissa Morrow. We can debate who's the best out of those two. I say Flaugier. Morrow is the best, the outpost player, of course, and Morrow had a really tough game. So and Flaugier had a good game for the most part. Not like a game where she dominated like normally, but she was very good on defense. I mean, she was so busy on defense with this young lady Nunu Agara that is Stanford's best player from what I can see. I mean, I would have to research to see whether or not she's really their best player or she just had the best game. I don't know. For me, I can't imagine them having a better player than her. If we were to give a true breakdown of the game and narrate it, Agara was the best player on the court the majority of the game. If you're talking about defensively being disruptive, if you're talking about playmaking, if you're talking about scoring, if you're talking about rebounding, pretty much she dominated the game for the most part. And that was the primary reason why Stanford had the lead most of the game. They were shocked to see, this girl came to play. Like, what's up? Yeah, Flaugier, I know you, the rapper. I know you, the superstar. I know you done signed to Unrivaled and you getting stakes and all of this kind of stuff. They setting you up to be this big deal. But Nunu, the Nunu said, nah. She didn't give a damn. She came out there playing. Came out there like, busting a whole bunch of ass. And had Stanford in position for a big-time upset. But, Kim Mulkey's team, as pretty much as they want to do, they stuck with it. Flaugier did not get completely frustrated. I like the way she played. She really primarily took on the responsibility of stinking Nunu, even though she was in early foul trouble. That's the type of stuff you want to see. She took on that defensive responsibility. Made the passes when she was supposed to make, made the right plays, scored timely buckets when needed, and allowed this Michaela to just go nuclear because that's what happened. Michaela led the team. I believe it was with 32 points she put in last night. Flaugier added about 21. Anissa Morrow, who's typically their second best player, had a rough night. I don't even think she scored 10 points. I believe it was 8 last I checked. And this was a hell of a win for LSU women. This is a game that definitely puts them in it gives them a higher status in my eyes. This is the type of win that will work wonders for you when you're in the tournament, because in the tournament, as you all know, you're going to face all types of situations. You're going to face all types of opponents that are going to surprise you. It may be the team that's lowest, rated in the eyes of the people who rate these teams, who give you the hardest work. And I was thoroughly impressed with the ladies in this particular game. So shout out to the LSU women. Shout out also to Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish women. I just started paying attention to them after they were able to defeat Juju Watkins and LSU, not LSU, USC a few weeks back. Hidalgo goes again for another 30 points. Um, Olivia Miles, I believe, puts in 18, about 6 or 7 assists, if I remember correctly. Now, I'm not going to go into details about this game because I was not able to actually watch the game. I'm watching football, and then you got LSU going on. Florida, I'm definitely following that. And then you got, these other games going on. I will get back to you all with a more thorough breakdown of those games when I'm able to watch them. Hopefully I can find them somewhere on my DVR, the entire game, and not just highlights, because that's just not the type of review that I prefer to do. I prefer to actually watch the whole game and give the whole entire breakdowns. Next thing I wanted to talk about briefly, to go to the National Football League and the NFL, and some information news that has been kind of making rounds. And it's, of course, as you know, the New York Jets have been very much disappointing this year. And I get it, but I kind of don't. This is the thing that gets me about these types of situations here. These NFL players, these talking heads on these different shows, whether it's First Take, Get Up, Speak, whatever. NFL Live, they're a little bit more practical. NFL Live is actually my favorite one. The one with the Chinese girl Mina, Swagoo, Ryan Clark, and Dan Orlovsky. I like them because they tend to be less just fanboyish, and they kind of really deal with the nuts and bolts more than the others that are popular on the shows. They typically go through film breakdown and the likes, this, so on and so forth. But even them, their Aaron Rodgers takes are not full of the type of depth that I expect from football players. Those football players know better. They understand the game. They understand that an offense that looks like a well-oiled machine, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not something, man, that you build in a day. The old adage, Rome wasn't built in a day. That's the same thing, man, with a football team. And the Jets, as you know, have been pretty bad front office wise for a while now. The way they haven't figured out how to build a team from top to bottom, probably since Bill Parcells was there. Really is the last time I remember any type of competence with that team. They pretty much haven't been able to get it right. Once in a while, they're pretty good here, but for the most time, they suck. They stink, and you have to kind of point to ownership when, being bad and is consistent. At any rate, they decided in this iteration of the Jets to go with a defensive coach in Robert Saleh, who I believe came from the San Francisco 49ers at the time. Well, at any rate, Robert Saleh actually did a good job of building a defense that could be a stable unit for them for probably some years to come. You're talking about number of pieces along the defensive line, the linebackers. One of my favorite players, Sauce Gardner, being a fill-in there at cornerback. This is what they had, and it appeared to them that the only thing they would need to add is a quarterback to run the offense, and everything would just be perfect. Now the problem with that is quarterbacks need a few things. Among those things they need is an offensive line, right? And the Jets, just look at what has happened with this player, Mekhi Becton. You're talking about a first-round pick at tackle, Mekhi Becton. Now, I get it. He went through some injuries there with the Jets. But for them to just completely get rid of a talent like that, you're talking about a tackle that is over 300 some odd pounds, right? Where is this Mekhi Becton now? Right now, he's with the Philadelphia Eagles playing guard and adding to what is the best offensive line in the NFL. Thank you, Jets. As an Eagles fan, I love the fact that you suck, right? We'll say that. But when analyzing the Jets from the standpoint of someone who cares about the Jets, if I try for a moment to do that, you have to see that as something that should piss you off. Why are you getting rid of this type of talent without exhausting every possibility of putting this guy in a place where you can help your team? If he didn't work out at tackle, why not try him at guard? So now you at least have one of the positions on the live field and then go get a tackle. These are just the examples of the bad decisions that the Jets make. The worst decision they made this year, and I don't know if Aaron Rodgers had anything to do with it or not, I don't know that, is to just fire the coach after, what was it, 4 or 5 games, and then getting this guy Hackett or whoever is in charge now that they put as a coach, and to think that somehow everything's just going to turn around like that is just like, it's just foolishness. It's just indicative of a team that has no idea what the hell they're doing. And then I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, who is one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch over the last 15 to 20 years in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers gets a lot of flack for, what is perceived to be underachievements on the field, as well as just who the hell he is as a person off the field. Now, all of the criticism, I think, on the field is warranted. Without a doubt, he has had a Hall of Fame career by the numbers, but he's such a talent. It always begs the question for people, for his critics, why does this guy only have 1 Super Bowl? And why was it when a situation when arguably the best player on the team was not him, but was Charles Woodson? Charles Woodson that year when they won the Super Bowl was Defensive Player of the Year. All right. And arguably the best player on the team, the leader, all of these things. And then after that, Aaron Rodgers, though getting close in terms of making the playoffs every year, making a few championship games, why didn't he get over the top? Why didn't he win? These are the questions people ask. Me personally, I get it. But, hey, sometimes there's a number of reasons why they don't win. They ran into some Seattle Seahawks teams that were just better. They ran into a Tampa Bay team that they should have beat, though. And they ran into just some, I guess, other teams they couldn't get past. And for whatever reason, Aaron Rodgers wasn't able to win. Now, as far as him off the field, I like Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers in some ways reminds me of myself, meaning he's a guy that his ideas are going to be ideas that he got from his own life experience and from his own fucking study. Aaron Rodgers is not the type of guy that's going to just follow the crowd, follow what's the in thing to do. He's not going to just go along with what the people thinks is right or is wrong or is moral or is immoral, whatever. He's a guy that's his own man, has his own brain, and people don't like those types of guys. Historically, biblically, what was the reason people had a problem with prophets back in the day? Jesus, why was he persecuted? He's persecuted because he's speaking something that's different from what people were being brainwashed and being culturally reared to believe, and those types of people are typically the types of people that are criticized, ousted by others. And for me, I actually put those things to his credit. I believe many people are jealous of guys like Aaron Rodgers. Why? Aaron Rodgers is intelligent. Aaron Rodgers actually won with a version of what is that? Jeopardy. Jeopardy is a show most motherfuckers can't even watch because they get so intimidated by the fact they don't know the answers to any of the questions. And when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers actually win Jeopardy, go all the way and win, and he's also a successful quarterback. He's also dating famous Danica Patrick's and dating all these famous actresses and stuff like that. This causes insecure men to, to hate guys like him. And I feel like he's gotten a lot of that because of that. Aaron Rodgers during the time when the pandemic was happening and everybody was being told, that there's all these people dropping dead all over the place because of, a virus of a virus that wasn't new, but kind of did exist, but it's just in a different form because we had the SARS virus back. I don't want to go all the way into it, but Aaron Rodgers was one of those guys who felt like he's going to do his own research. He's going to get second opinions. He's not going to let just Dr. Fauci dictate everything and be treated as the ultimate truth, as if like he's coming with some type of heavenly scripture. This is the way people were treating Dr. Fauci, in my opinion. He went did his own research, had his own doctors, probably some Eastern medicine guys, whether it's Chinese Eastern medicine or Indian Eastern medicine or Arabic Eastern medicine, Greek Eastern medicine. There's been medicine going on in existence for thousands of years prior to this, and Aaron Rodgers seems to seek those types of things, and people don't like that. When you're a celebrity, when you're out there, when you're what they consider to be privileged and blessed, they expect you to go along with the crowd and not ruffle any feathers or anything like that. And this is where Aaron Rodgers finds himself. Okay. And so I think sometimes those people allow those feelings they have for Aaron Rodgers to seep into how they critique him as a football player. So now they're saying, well, Aaron Rodgers isn't just, because of the type of guy he is, he's probably a bad leader. Because of the type of guy he is, he's probably ignorant towards his teammates. He probably thinks he's better than them. They're all as insecure dudes with that kind of stuff. If you're secure in who you are as a man, you're not worried about what Aaron Rodgers is doing, because you should have your own foundation of thinking that you've gathered throughout your own life, to where you can listen to what this man got to say, weigh it. If there's any good in what he's saying, you take it. If there's any bad in what he's saying, you leave it. Real simple. But anyway, this is what I wanted to say here as far as Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, as being himself, when he was asked about whether or not the Jets should give him an opportunity to come back and try this again, he, in his mind, thinking, this is fucking ridiculous. Why am I being asked this? Of course, they should give me an opportunity. And that's based on, his resume. He's expecting people to see him as a person with equity and not judge him based on what's going to happen in these next 5 games. And a lot of people have different opinions on it. Most people, like a Shannon Sharpe or whatever, who is an interesting individual with a lot of his opinions. Shannon Sharpe, 1 minute, it is one way, with certain players and guys, like, and then sometimes he's just this way of, I don't care what the situation is. If you ain't winning, you ain't getting it done, then you should just be fired, held accountable, this and that, right? Kind of forgetting that when he played, he had a Hall of Fame quarterback named John Elway. He had a Hall of Fame running back in Terrell Davis. He had a Hall of Fame offensive line that was coached by the great Howard Mudd. Like, Shannon Sharpe used to forget all of these different things, and we're going to judge players just in a vacuum without any of that. Like, it's funny. Like, for years with Skip, that was the way he would argue. Sometimes the way he would be with Brady, sometimes the way he would be with other players was just very stoic. I don't care about none of the excuses. I just want to know, did you get it done? Right? He wants to do that. And this is kind of like the way he's being, with Aaron Rodgers. Ocho Cinco trying to be a little bit different. As far as Acho and all those other guys on the other shows, most of them are kind of like in agreement. And I'm even surprised the Chinese girl, Mina Kimes, is taking a similar approach. All they're doing is looking at the lack of production right now, not looking at the fact it's just the Jets. You're just blaming him as if it's just as if it's just that easy to go out there and get some super quarterback who changes everything. Now, could it be? Could it be possible? maybe, you know, not necessarily impossible. But um, we know with football, generally, generally speaking, right, a quarterback that's of any substance will perform well if there's competency around them, competent line, competent front office, um, all of those different things. And they believe just because he added Lazard and they went and got uh, Devontae Adams that everything was supposed to just change like that overnight. Um, I don't know. I don't know. This is what I'm doing if I'm the owner of the Jets. Um, and of course, I'm nowhere near that organization at all. But if I'm with the Jets, I'm keeping Aaron Rodgers just one more year. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go try and search for my quarterback in the future. Right. So right now you're losing. So you're on par to be able to get somebody, I presume, right? Or put yourself in position to move up and get somebody or whatever. So what you do is you let the next guy come in because you already decided it wasn't going to be Zach Wilson. They lost patience with him, got rid of him, and that. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but that's what they did. What they would do right now, if I'm in charge, is I would have a new quarterback that learns under Aaron Rodgers now. Um, so what does it matter if you're good next year or not? Really, unless you're concerned about the contracts of like your defensive players coming up or something of that nature. Uh, that's what I would do. You know, who you gonna go with next year? If you get rid of Aaron Rodgers, that's gonna make it. That's gonna make a difference. A guy like Aaron Rodgers, not only does he help because there is a chance he could actually have a good year next year. It's possible because the more he plays with the players that he's with, the more chemistry is built. Right? That's possible. And if they're bad next year, what you do is you have the rookie that you drafted, quarterback, learn from behind him. He has indispensable knowledge that he can share with a rookie quarterback. But, you know, that's just me. Oh man, I see you there, Jared. I see you've been talking for a while. Keystone Cowboys, my boy for life here. What's up? Jared, Dan Campbell is the most guts of any coach in the league. Call it guts? Okay. I call it. I mean, it's guts when it works. When it doesn't, it's stupidity. Like last year, that game, because last year the Giants should have. Last year the Lions should have been in the Super Bowl, right? All them guts. That was stupidity against the 49ers, and that's the thing. What happens when you try that stuff against a team that's equally on the level of the Lions, or possibly better? Because like as an Eagles fan, I want Dan Campbell to coach you just like that. Keep going for fourth downs. Yeah, I dare you. All right. LSU doesn't look as good as they did in the past, but when you lose an Angel Reese, who was a legit superstar, so hard to replace, so they look good to me. Undefeated. Let me see. Rodgers, I think, needs to retire for his own sake. All-time great career for the brother. Not a knock. Everyone approaches. I hear you, but I don't think he has to retire for his own sake. It's not going to harm his legacy. It is what it is. All his Hall of Fame career, I think, is pretty much is established, and he can go out on his own terms. The way I see it, if he feels he can go out there and help a team and possibly win something, in the right situation, hey, go for it. Um, yeah, go for it. Is Brady a huge hypocrite for criticizing quarterback rules that are rules because of him? Is he low-key throwing more shade at Mahomes? um, I'll say this about Tom Brady. Brady actually, you talking about a 20-year career. So he was at the tail end of the way things were prior. And then he, of course, experienced, I would say, over the last 10 years of his career, some of what I think you're talking about. But I think it's good. Well, is he low key throwing shade? You never know. Mahomes is the biggest threat to his Super Bowl, uh, you know, wins record, obviously. So there could be some of that there. He was a very vicious competitor in his career, so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it would be like him to continue to be a vicious competitor like that. Because even when you have rules like that, when you have records, I mean, like that, I'm sure he knows his record may be beat at some point, but he probably feels like, damn, can I get 20 years before my record is broke? 30 years, or like Eric Dickerson's record, 40 something years. It's like Mahomes is up on him right now already, and I'm sure there is a part of him that would like to see Mahomes losing, not constantly winning, and sure he might be throwing a little shade at him too, to make it seem like Mahomes' victory is a little easier than his, even though they're not. To me, the Chiefs are just nothing but the new Patriots in terms of the way the NFL is using them. In terms of the way they're propping up Andy Reid as if he's just the greatest thing ever, and all that nonsense. How would others know how Rodgers leads if they've never been around his teams? How do you judge leadership through a TV screen? Exactly. I agree. I think what they do is they're um, they're just taking parts of his personality that they don't like, and they're assuming that he's just a certain type of way in the locker room. That's what I'm saying, and I'm speaking speculatively anyway. But uh, is he gets a lot of criticism. You know, Shalom, bro. Yes, sir. Mo Talk Sports. Uh, this brother right here, Mo Talk, he has some good content, man. That I would recommend, and his channel, man, is very much worthy of support in my opinion. You know, so if you're not subscribed to Mo Talk Sports, his brother, I believe he's out of Texas. Um, please, by all means, go, subscribe to him. Alabama is quite literally overrated this year for land. The BCS is still treating them like Saban is there. Yeah, that's going to happen for a while. Once you gain a reputation and you gain some equity, that'll happen for a little bit. But eventually they're going to have to move off of it. It's always a business. It's always money. And what Saban had built there was immaculate. Was major. It was the biggest sports story in the BCS over the last 10 to 20 years. So they're going to milk it as far as they can to get that money, and that's just the nature of the beast. The media at large still doesn't believe in Jalen Hurts. The new narrative is that he cannot win a shootout with Mahomes. Well, that's the good. The good thing is that their opinions will have no bearing on what happens on the field. If anything, it takes when a guy like Jalen Hurts hears it, and then he goes out there with a chip on his shoulder, cruising wrong, and outplays what they expect. That's the good thing about those types of opinions. That's the good thing about those types of opinions. Now, briefly, before before we uh before we go, um, just gotta for those who come here for their Eagles news, just want to give a few updates. Number one, okay, it looks like Devontae Smith, who has missed the last 2 weeks with a hamstring issue, will be back. He's been practicing pretty much every day. Um, Full go, full practices, no partial stuff, none of that. So that's good. He's set to start against the Panthers. Uh, where our troubles are injury wise is in that secondary. Reed Blankenship, who left last game against Baltimore with a concussion, is still in concussion protocol. Um, he has not been practicing, so it's obviously is set that he will not participate in the game against the Carolina Panthers. Um, Looks like we'll be down uh, another safety as well. Let me see here. Okay, that's really what I meant. Yeah, Sidney Brown, who was our backup safety and a guy that many hopes to be our future starting safety there. Because Reed Blankenship is, though Reed Blankenship has played well, he's just on a 1 year contract, and the Eagles have not extended him, which kind of indicates to me that they may be kind of hopeful that Sidney Brown would take that spot. Sidney Brown was last year's third round pick, whereas Reed Blankenship, who came the year before that, was an undrafted free agent. Um, when you compare Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship, with Sidney Brown, you see the better athlete. You see the guy that's more, just a better all around blue chip player. And he was injured last year. That's just what happened. He was injured last year, which put him kind of behind the eight ball. He was not able to participate in mini camps, preseason. He missed a good part of the year, so that put Reed Blankenship over him because of injury. And I don't know. It's not a good thing if Sidney Brown's going to continue to be injured like that. That's not good to see. So this leaves the Eagles down to Chauncey Gardner Johnson and Tristan McCullum, who was a good looking safety last week. He came and gave some good minutes. So it looks like Tristan McCullum and C.J. Gardner Johnson will probably be the starting safeties this coming week. The other news is Dallas Goedert is going to miss multiple games due to a knee injury. So he won't be out there. So it looks like the Eagles are going to go with Grant Katera and C.J. Uzoma as the tight ends. So, that's just probably the news going into the game. Other than that, though he had some limited participation with Britton Covey and Johnny Wilson, but they should be set to go. Uh, so, just in total, Devontae Smith, Darius Slay, uh, Mekhi Becton, Josh Sweat, all the guys who were doing limited participation practices earlier this week, they're all a go. They practiced, all of them practiced full go, full pads, everything yesterday. So they should be ready to go. My man Jared, Eagles should blow Carolina out the stadium. I can see 42-14, perhaps. The Carolina's been fighting though, the last couple of games. It all depends on the Eagles. I tend to agree with you though. Uh, Even if they let Carolina score 14, that's something I will be shocked. The Eagles are allowing about 15 points a game since the bye week, and this is including real teams. For lack of a better word, and so Carolina, I don't know, it'd be 14 points would be difficult in my opinion. So the Hurts narrative BS anyway, because this ain't the Tyreek Hill Chiefs no more. They don't shoot it out anymore. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, oh no, I see your content about TCU. Yep, I see it. Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to watch TCU yet. I got to get caught up with a lot of those games, um, which uh, which I will, which we will. Uh, I know there was something else I wanted to talk about, but we'll save that for later. It's probably some Dallas Cowboy stuff because those guys are hilarious over there. Those guys are hilarious. Yeah, I'll get to TCU at some point. a lot of teams, a lot of games, a lot of sports, bro. And you know, I'm trying to juggle that with life. Life's at times. So uh, with that, man, I think I'm in the industry. Uh, so peace out, to everyone. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate the support, appreciate the love, appreciate all of that good stuff. Please like, share, subscribe if you are not subscribed to uh, Flash Speak Sports. And catch you all tomorrow. Peace out.